A new report details how the $113 billion the United States has been allocated to Ukraine in its defense against Russia's invasion has been spent, with a portion of it staying within the United States. Since Russia's invasion began in February 2022, Congress has approved 4 supplemental spending packages for Ukraine assistance. The report, released Tuesday by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, which describes itself as a bipartisan non-profit policy research organization, breaks down how the money has been allocated. CSIS' new study reinforces the facts that American aid to Ukraine is not only being spent properly but with significantly more oversight than any effort of its kind, said Scott Cullinane, Director of Government Affairs of RAISM for Ukraine. While Ukraine has not cowered in the face of Russia's brutal invasion, they are relying on support from the United States to achieve victory. The report said more than $421 million has been spent across military services on salaries for U.S. troops preparing or currently deployed in Europe. It said additional funds were appropriated for salaries and expenses at departments across the federal government, including Justice, Treasury, and Energy for activities such as sanctions enforcement and war crime investigations. Further, it said a total of $25.93 billion was used to replenish equipment stockpiles that were depleted when President Joe Biden used the Presidential Drawdown Authority to pull weapons and equipment to deliver to Ukraine. Ukraine has proven that they can utilize this support efficiently and effectively as they have depleted Putin's military capability by 50%. Cullinane said. That is an exceptional return on investment. We are hopeful that members of Congress against additional funding for Ukraine will reconsider their position with these facts in mind. In August, Biden requested $40 billion in emergency funding from Congress, including $24 billion for Ukraine and $12 billion to replenish the Federal Emergency Management Association's Disaster Relief Fund. The report said if the aid is approved, the money for Ukraine would last about 3 or 4 months and another supplemental request would likely be needed. At that point, the United States will be at the beginning of what will be a hotly contested presidential election cycle, the report said. Members of the House, who must stand for re-election every 2 years, will also be in cycle. A year and a half into the war, public support for continued assistance to Ukraine is split, at best, with some polls showing a majority of Americans opposed to continued financial support. This makes it difficult for members of Congress to take repeated votes on continued funding for Ukraine. However, the Biden administration can help shore up congressional support for Ukraine funding by articulating a clear plan of how U.S. support, in coordination with allies, will lead to victory for Ukraine.